Hey guys, Sean here, and today we're in the garage working on something I've been waiting weeks, if not months, to do, and that's mount the bodywork on this R6 here. So stay tuned. So here we've got the upper. Looks like an R6. This is probably the part that you're gonna mount first. Once you get this part lined up, everything else is gonna fall into place. So I'm told. You're gonna mount the lower, which is gonna connect here with the Zeus fasteners. You got to drill these guys out. These are gonna mount to the body, and then you may or may not want to use the upper parts here. Drill a hole to mount. Right up here on each side. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to show you how I'm test fitting. I've had this on and off probably 10 times now, test fitting, but we'll pretend that I didn't, and it'll look like I did it the first time now. So we're just going to do the test fit and start drilling holes and getting this mounted up, and then from there we're going to attach the lowers and make sure everything fits right. Alright, so that kind of looks like an R6. Basically, what I do at this point, Woodcraft gives you these upper fairing mount kit things. They go into the fairing stay here, and then they have these two little captive plates that we're going to have some, where's my hardware? We're going to have these guys up there. That's going to be the first thing that we're going to do. And in order to get those lined up, what I did before for the test fit is bring this part up to where it's going to be. It's going to sit right about there. I'm trying to do everything one-handed now. It's going to sit right about here, and I've already taken my pick and I basically did this. I used the straight one, but I scribed a line. Let's see what I'm doing here. I scribed a line with a pick. Not a line, but a dot. I scraped it into the back of the fiberglass so that I know where to drill. And then I'm going to drill that out with a 3/16 bit. Try and line these guys up where I mark. These I have a feeling I'll have to make a little bit bigger just by looking at them. Let's go back up here. So included in your bodywork is going to be one countersunk screw, Allen hex, with a little countersunk spacer to mount everything flush. Alright, well, that hole is not going to be big enough for this hardware, so I'm going to have to once again take it off and drill it out. Alright, so now that that's on, I'm going to drill out the rear holes in the back corners there that go into the frame, and I'm going to keep going with that, and then look at where the lowers are going to mount up and where to fasten with the Zeus fasteners. Alright, so I have a Pro Bolt metric kit that I'm pilfering some hardware out of. These are what I'm going to use for the sides. These are, what, 6mm, I don't know, typical metric threads, and I'm using the plastic washers that came with them to help protect the bodywork. They're probably going to get lost immediately the first time I take them off, but hopefully, you know, for the first couple times that I put it on and take it off while it's painted, these will save me a little bit. Alright, so now that I got the upper mounted, I got the lower set up, and I've eyed up where I want to mount the Zeus fasteners. And the Zeus, or Zeus, however you want to say it, for those of you who don't know, they're a captive style fastener that is like a quarter turn with a D-ring. Usually they have a D-ring on the outside and on the inside. So on the outside panel you're putting this through, and this is basically holding the outside panel fast to the inside panel where they overlap. And the idea is that, let's see if you can see it here. You're looking at the back end of it here, and there's this little S-style clip, and this one grabs this guy. There's a couple different ways they work, but these ones in particular, this one grabs this guy and will twist and pull it in, and it's detented so that it'll lock into place like this. And then once you get them on, then these are offset a little bit so that they're not going to shake around, and they can fold down flat. Sometimes when these come loose, you got to electrical tape them so they don't rattle and stuff. I've had to do that before, but that's the style. Now let me show you where I'm going to space them. So on the upper here, I've got these. This panel goes on the inside of the lower here, so I've got these spaced 3. I bought these from Woodcraft, and they give you 6 in a pack. I'm going to have to get another pack probably for the tail section, but these I got here spaced evenly, 2 on this panel and then 1 on the front, since that one's pretty sturdy anyway. This has a little more length to go by. So what I'm going to do is grab my Sharpie here, and I'm going to mark where I want these guys, like that. Try and get the center as best I can. One more. Like that. Alright, so then I'm going to repeat for the other side, and then I'm going to take this off and drill it, and then drill the holes on the lower, put everything back on, and then mount it up. So you'll see. Alright, after some minor corrections on the right side here, I think I've got everything fit pretty well. This edge is maybe like 1/4 inch off, if that. Less than that, probably 1/8 of an inch off. These are all fitting tight. There are some plastic washers that go on the Zeus fasteners to keep them retained on this lower portion of the bodywork. That way you don't have to take these on and off, and you don't risk losing the stuff all the time. This hole is not going to line up quite perfectly. I'm probably like 1/8 of an inch off to the side here. We'll see if I can get that cut. And then walking around to the other side. I don't know whether I'm going to keep the counter shaft cover. I don't know if I'm going to keep the sprocket cover on or not. It would seem that the best way to mount this piece is to leave that on. I don't know if there's got to be somebody who makes a bracket so that you can run this open if you want, because I'm not riding on the street and I'm not worried about shoelaces or anything. I don't think I'm going to use the lower portion here. I think I'm just going to fasten these guys here, because if you look at it, it's plenty tight down here just with these back guys fastened. This one and then the one up under there. Right over here. So earlier today, just to give you a little rundown, I got this all set up. I had to take 2 sections out of the shifter rods from DynoJet to get that spacing right for how I want my rear sets. You know, I can still move these, and these are still adjustable, so I can get these set however I want. I routed all this stuff, zip tied this off. Pretty happy with how this is. Not sure what I'm going to do with this just yet, if I'm going to use Velcro or maybe just keep it in there with some foam, because I do have this plate here. So now, after this, all we have to do is the tail section and the front fender. So let's get started on that. Alright, so now that we've gotten the lower and the upper installed and everything is tight, we have the tail section. This is going to be a lot quicker than those, because it's just basically one bolt, and then they give you 4 little holes to mount pins, like these guys, these push pins, the push rivets. But I don't think I'm going to use all 4. I might use 2. We'll see how it mounts up. But basically, they give you a little recess here, and then that's going to mount up here. So all you really have to do is get this mounted onto the bike, line this up, it doesn't line up perfectly, but it's pretty close. So now what I'm going to do is take my 3/16 drill bit, and I'm going to line this up and make a mark. Underneath, as you can see there, and that's where I'm going to drill. So that's 3/16. Now I got to change over to a 1/4. Move over there, and throw it back up on the bike. I'm going to find a piece of hardware. Filming.
What was I supposed to be filming?
I think for...
You weren't doing anything.
I was getting my tools. I think for now, I think this 10mm bolt is going to work. Okay, so after some technical difficulties, I got this figured out. It just wasn't really lining up properly, but I drilled the hole, and now I have one piece of hardware holding this in. I don't know if I really even need to drill anything else. Maybe just 2 holes here and here to hold the front of the tail section in, and then I got to get another pack of these 6 guys to hold the draft pan in place, which is this guy right here. And then that'll be it. I'm going to mount the front fender up, and I don't think I'm going to film that because you guys get the idea. So I'll maybe just upload a picture at the end of this of the final product. Alright, so sorry if I skipped over a whole lot of stuff. I think I probably did, but everything is fastened. I got the front fender mounted, hole drilled here, hole drilled here, hardware matching on the other side, there and there. This stuff is incredibly sturdy. I didn't even mount it down here. I just mounted it in the back here, and it's deutscht like a Deuger. It's really on there. So the only thing I have left to do bodywork wise is, well, like I was saying before, the draft pan, that's not finished yet. I got to get more of the Zeus fasteners. But let's see what I did. Let's see, it wasn't on at all. So I drilled 2 holes here. Don't know whether I'm going to do, it's a little bit loose, but I think the draft pan will probably tighten that up a little bit, and it doesn't, I don't think it really needs to be any tighter than that, but I got 2 screws here, and you know, all this is just kind of mocked up. I'm not telling you what color I'm painting it yet. That's going to be a surprise. So far, that's what I got. And what else? Oh yeah, I got this stuff from Woodcraft too. Got to cut these heat shields to the size, and then they're going to go inside in the exhaust. They're going to go up against the side to guard against the heat from the exhaust, because you don't want your fiberglass going up in flames or whatever it does. I guess fiberglass is probably flammable or not. I don't know. I'm an idiot. Anyway, that's going to go on in there, and then I think I'm ready to get this stuff painted at this point. The fit is pretty good. The whole idea was that these, I got to line up these frame sliders. These are going to have to get notched out just a little bit here on this side, so you probably won't even notice this little guy. And then this side lines up pretty well, but then I'm going to have to notch out here. Gonna cut that out so I can have my low pro frame sliders. And that concludes today. This is probably about, let's see, what time is it? It is 7:19. I've been out here since about 1. That's probably like 6 hours worth of work. I'd say a solid 4 if you're not distracted like I am and you don't get sidetracked and go do other shit. So yeah, that's probably about 6 hours, let's say 4 hours worth of work if I'm honest. The actual time spent working, it was probably about 4 hours worth of work. And the bodywork itself, I got a discount on it because I work at a dealership, but the bodywork was, I think the bodywork goes for like $750 list, $750 retail, which is really good because I think it's probably second in line to shark skins, which I had my old R6. I still have the uppers sitting up there. That was shark skins, and that was really good stuff, really durable, really flexible. Probably second in line to shark skins, but shark skins is like $1,100 retail for a whole set, I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's what people are paying. So I'd say the Armour Bodies is totally worth it. It's a little bit of finesse to get it mounted, but it's not as bad as like other brands that I've heard of where you're spending hours and the holes aren't even close. So I'd say well worth the money to get your bike track prepped. So alright, so this is Sean signing off. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching.